Hey you guys, it's Ashley Cunningham, and I thought it would be really fun to show you guys what spiritual books or what books am I reading right now to help me in my own spiritual practice. As a medium, I am always looking to push my spiritual practice forward, engage in really cool dialogue with amazing spiritual beings, but I also really love to read about spiritual topics and spiritual experiences for some. And so I wanted to show you what I'm currently reading right now or what I will be reading very soon as I've just gotten some new books in. So let us go down this path. I'm going to try and keep this as concise as possible for each of these books. I am a reader who I have many books that I'm reading at one time, and that's okay with me. I turn to specific books for specific things, and I just roll with it. So I will try and be concise, and I will include links to where you can find all of these books. I mainly shop on Amazon when I'm purchasing books. Currently, during COVID-19 pandemic, my local library is closed. If I can't find a book at the library, I'll just buy it online or buy it on Audible using an Audible credit that I typically always have a few on hand because, like I said, I read a lot, and sometimes I like to listen to books while I'm doing work. So let's just dive in, and I will show you currently what I'm reading first and then what I will start diving into very soon. So the first book that I am currently reading is Shaman, Healer, Sage by Alberto Villoldo. Villoldo. I'm sorry if I mispronounced that name, but I absolutely love this book. As you guys may or may not know, I am an angelic Reiki healer, and this book is really, really interesting to me in that it goes over a lot of the energy healing principles that they use in shamanism in the Americas, typically the South America countries. This book takes place all over South America. The author did a lot of traveling in this book and does a lot of discussion around different areas and experiences that he had while he was learning shamanism and healing from his mentors. And I love this book. This really resonates with me in my own worldview, perspective, connection with healing and with energy. And I feel like I was an energy healer in many lifetimes, and maybe not from the continental United States, maybe from a culture similar to the Inca or other cultures that use a lot of the principles that are discussed here. So it really hits home for me, and it's been very influential on how I connect with the angels when I do angelic Reiki and some of the techniques that I see them using and connecting to clients' energy. And they present it to me in a way that I can understand, and they use a lot of the language or the imagery that I've found in this book. And I really appreciate it, and I really connect with it. So if you're interested in energy healing or shamanism or anything similar, or if you're maybe not interested for yourself, but you kind of want to check it out and see what's going on, this is a great book. I really enjoy it. The other book that I'm reading is, and I've recommended this to a lot of clients, and I haven't even finished it yet. It's fantastic. It's Mother Mary's Pathway to Love, and it's all about Daniell Gibbons' journey when she first was starting out and learning to channel, and she trans-channels Mother Mary. And it's just a really amazing experience, or a walk through her personal experience, learning how to channel, learning how to improve her self-love practice and her self-care practice, going through an eating disorder. And Mother Mary really pulled her through that experience and taught her a lot about love. And I love this book because I don't necessarily have the same experiences as Danielle, but a lot of the feelings and a lot of what she describes in her path feels very, it rings true for me, and I really like to connect with Mother Mary. I absolutely love Mother Mary, and so I love this book because a lot of channeled messages in this book are from Mother Mary, or well, all of them are from Mother Mary, but there's a lot of channeled messages in here, and I love that. And it's just it's an easy read. It can be a little heady or heavy at times, but I still highly recommend it, and I really love this book. The next book that I am currently reading is The Seven Sacred Flames, and by Aurelia Louise Jones, and I've talked about this in another video before with Hilarion, I believe. And this book I learned about when I was getting trained in angelic Reiki healing, and it's a pretty good introduction to the rays, to a lot of ascended masters that work within that energy of each ray. And there's a ton of beautiful channeled messages here that just really strike home or hit me in my heart chakra. They're really beautiful. And the binding, it's a hardcover. The pages are foiled, covered on the sides, and there's just really beautiful pictures in here. Like, look at that. Like, that's great. And there's a breakdown of the Ascended Masters' historical lives and a lot of other things. And there's prayers for each of the chakras. And it's just gorgeous, and I think this is a really great reference book. Maybe if you're beginning to connect to the spiritual realm and you have a lot of questions, this might be a good place to start. And or if you're continuing on your path and you've been connecting for quite a while, this is still a great resource. I think there are some channeled messages in here that may be a little different, connecting to that Ascended Master than maybe if you've connected with that specific Ascended Master before. So it's cool to hear a different person's means of channeling that Ascended Master and getting their message out. And it's just beautiful, and it's a great book, and I just love it. So definitely, if you're looking for a good reference, something to stay on your shelf for a long time or just keep it around, it's a great intro book. So if you are on your path and then someone comes along and you're helping them on their path, you can always give this as a gift. This is really great. It is published by Mount Shasta Light Publishing. It was kind of expensive, but I had it priority shipped to me, so I paid a lot in shipping. And this, as Mount Shasta is in Northern California, I actually live in Oregon, so it didn't have to go too far, but I still had to pay quite a bit in shipping. But it was worth it because I got it quite quickly and I really enjoy it. So I'm reading through this. I'm not very far, but there's some pretty heavy duty material in here. So I try and take it in bits and really ruminate on the messages that are coming through. And I have found sometimes I'll just open a page and start reading, and it's exactly what I need to hear in the moment. So if you're comfortable with skipping around, this could be a fun book to do that, and then journal or kind of, riff off of that and do a lot of reflections on what's going on and why did that strike you in the moment or really touch you in that space. So I think this is a good book. Definitely check it out, and I will include a link down below. And the next book, this is quite a large book. I'm again not very far into it, but I have been trying to read as much of it as possible when I can. And this is The Soul's Perspective on How to Achieve Perfect Radiant Health, a compilation by Dr. Joshua David Stone. And there are some things in here that don't really resonate with me, so I'm just gonna discard them. There is a ton in here that does resonate with me, and really, it's a great compilation of a lot of strategies to help with healing yourself, healing others, and it's there are some common sense things, but there's also some really deep perspectives on why specific situations influence you the way that they do, or how can you heal and grow from them, and how can you align your physical and subtle bodies, so your physical, mental, spiritual, emotional bodies, into one to create perfect radiant health. And I've talked about this book in a few of the mediumship classes that Kristen Davies and I put on. And I just love it, and I think it's a really, really great book if you're very serious about studying healing or moving into the healing arts, or if you've already joined the healing arts and you're looking for something to inspire you. I think this is a great place, and there's a lot of other books that he has written I have not checked out yet, but this was one that was brought up in the Angelic Reiki training that I had taken, and I love it, and I think it's great. So definitely it's a good read, and it's as you can see, like in the books that I'm reading right now, this is kind of where I'm focused. So I'm focused on healing, I'm focused on learning more about Ascended Masters and kind of pushing forward on that. And Mother Mary is just, she's a part of my practice always. So I you know, just have a special place for her. So this is kind of where I'm at right now, and I'm going to show you some books that I recently just got to show you kind of where I'm going forward once I get through maybe one or two of these books. I rotate them in as I move, so, or as I read through things, so it definitely is always an evolving list. But the first book that I want to share with you guys, and again, I haven't read any of these books, so I don't know if they're fully going to resonate with me, like in every single detail. There may be some things that I take and some that I just discard that don't really make a lot of sense. But I wanted to show you what I'm starting to get interested in or wanting to get an idea of, because it just sounds interesting, and I'm always looking to grow my practice, grow my vocabulary, grow the way in which I connect with spirit. So the next book that I want to show you guys is Sacred Contracts by Carolyn, I think it's Myss, Carolyn Myss or Myss, maybe, I don't really know, I'm sorry. But this book here, I had a conversation with my Angelic Reiki trainer, her name's Stacia, and she does Sacred Contracts work. She's trained by Carolyn Myss, and I was really interested in getting a reading from her on what my archetypes are, what's my sacred contract look like. And I was thinking about doing that, but I wanted to just kind of get a sense of what is it all about. So I bought the book, and I probably will still go and get a reading from her because she's amazing, and I think it would be fun to see a different perspective. But I think this book goes into why it's important to understand your own life contract and how that influences your decisions and experiences that you've had to date, and what does that say about you, and really getting a good perspective on your personality. I'm a strong believer in the Myers-Briggs personality types. I'm an INFJ all the way, and I've always been that, and I think it's always just really interesting to get a perspective on how you are as a person and how that impacts your decisions, the experiences you have, the paths that you take. So I thought I would just give it a try and check it out. And I also bought the cards, the archetype cards that go with the Sacred Contracts material. So I'm not sure, I haven't tried these out yet. I literally just got them yesterday. So I'm not sure if this is going to be something that I will be very passionate about as I move forward. If I am, I would probably go and get trained so I can do official Sacred Contracts readings for people. But at this time, I'm just exploring and I'm just taking it slow. So I'm excited to start delving into this to see if this has any weight or, you know, any positive impacts on my mediumship or how I connect with spirit. Maybe it will help in some of my vocabulary, so it would be easier for spirit to communicate certain themes or certain bits of information for others when I'm doing full readings. So I'm hoping to get that out of it at minimum, but we'll see. I'm not sure because I haven't read it yet. So there's that book. And then I also I've always been interested in herbalism and interested in understanding herbs and medicines and how to turn to nature for health reasons. And so I got this book, the Modern Herbal Dispensatory book. by Thomas Easley and Stephen Horne. And I haven't read it yet. I just got it yesterday, but it looks like a really good compilation of ways in which to not only understand the different herbs or how to use specific types of herbs, but how to bring them together to boost my own health and to connect to nature and to eat in a more vibrant way. So I'm really excited to I'm looking forward to this. And I'm excited to see how that impacts how I do my own cooking and how I connect with edible plants and what I would maybe want to set in my own garden and see how would I take this forward? Like, how would this interact with my current everyday life and how could this benefit my life moving forward? So I think this would be really interesting. This is more for my own self-development, not necessarily my professional spiritual development, but I think it's always great to know how to connect with nature in a lot of different ways. And I know how to lean against a tree, I know how to walk in the grass and enjoy a beautiful landscape, but I also want to know how to interact in a different way. And so I think this will help me. So I have another set of books that I want to show you guys. I've read one of them, actually I've listened to one of them on Audible, and that's The Green Witch. And I've listened to most of this book on Audible, and I knew like halfway through it that I needed to actually read the book, have it in my hands, and engage with the material in a more physical way by reading it and looking at it, because there was a lot of principles in here that I really connect with, and the way you use your energy. And there was so much in here about connecting with nature, the rhythms of nature, embracing your own power, spiritual power, and just connecting in a really beautiful way and how to do that. And I do quite a few of the techniques already around grounding and visualization. I do a ton of meditation. And so that's, nothing new for me. So moving forward and looking at some other techniques, I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm not sure if I'm going to be on board with all of it, but I like to at least be open to hear what other people are using and how that impacts their daily life. And, I may give some of it a try. I think it's just going to be really interesting to see what resonates with me in the rest of this book. And how do I put it into practice? So I'm excited about this one. I really love it. And yeah, I think it's going to go well. I think it's going to pair well with my herbalism book that I just showed you guys. This is, I think, more around practice, a more spiritual based practice of using herbs and flowers and ways in which to do that. So I may not, go full out saying prayers and things over as I'm making certain materials, but I definitely will be setting intention and bringing forward that energy when I engage with making things from herbs or doing specific activities that I think are going to be included in the rest of this book. I hadn't finished the book on Audible, but we'll see what the rest of it looks like and how much I really engage with it. So I'm excited about this one. And I'm also excited about the other two books that I bought. I actually bought the Arin Murphy-Hiscock bundle on Amazon. So I got the House Witch and the Witch's Book of Self-Care. So I got these two books as well. I've started reading this one. This one really jumped out to me when I unboxed everything last night. And I just started reading it, and I really resonate with the principles that Arin goes over in how what a house witch kind of looks like, and the practice of making your space sacred and using everyday activities to live in a really beautiful and balanced way. And I'm all about that. So I am pleasantly surprised by this one. I didn't really know what to expect, but I'm loving this one, and I think it's great. I haven't actually seen many reviews about this book online or on YouTube, so I'm not sure if this is like just kind of older or not as popular or what, but I tried to find more people talking about this book online, and I didn't really see a ton of people. So I may do something maybe more in depth once I finish the book, and maybe have used some of the practices in my own life and in my spiritual practice. So we'll see if this is something that really inspires me moving forward. But I'm having fun reading it, so it's kind of cool. And then the Witch's Book of Self-Care, this is the final one. I've never even looked in here to see what kind of self-care tips are in here. I haven't listened to any reviews or anything. It was just part of the bundle, and I was just like, why not? Let's try it out. It's a beautiful book, and if there's even one tip in here that makes my life better, I think it's worthwhile. So I'm excited to delve in, and I just think it's beautiful, and I can't wait to see what is going on with this one. So I think this is going to be something that definitely moving forward I will reference in my own self-care practice, but we'll see. I don't know. That's to me the fun of reading just in general, and I also love to read multiple things at the same time, because they kind of play off of each other in my mind. They mix together the principles that I'm learning in my energy healing books, as well as in my more spiritual nature books, as well as with the Ascended Masters. Like, having all that information swirling in my head at once kind of inspires me to make connections that maybe I wouldn't have made before. So I enjoy it. I love seeing my own evolution and my own interests kind of playing and mixing together. I think reading, as well as like watching YouTube videos and connecting with specific music or podcasts or any means really of ingesting content, learning new principles, and really kind of building your own self, your own life out of those principles and the content that you're ingesting, you're consuming through various ways, like reading or listening. But it's so interesting to me to see how it all comes together. And I just really appreciate that you guys have taken the time to watch all of the books and kind of get a sense of what I am right now working on and evolving through. And I can't wait to see what maybe my practice looks like on the other side of all of these books. Or maybe I don't change very much, and that's okay, but I at least will have a better vocabulary and understanding of certain Ascended Masters and energy practices and different cultures, as well as different ways to take care of myself and to connect with nature in ways in my everyday life, or in ways of intentional connections through the seasons and through various shifts in the energy that's around me. So I'm excited to see how all of this will play out in my life and impact my own personal spiritual practice, as well as my professional business in mediumship and angelic Reiki healing. I am just excited to see where it'll take me. If you guys have any questions, if you want me to maybe do a second video in more detail about how I read the book and what maybe came out of it, I'm more than willing to do that. If you guys want to also share maybe a book that's really inspired you and or maybe changed you and kind of changed your whole perspective on life, share that in the comments below, because I'm always looking for a good read. You guys can tell I read a lot, but also I want you guys to share with each other maybe books that have really inspired you on any topic. It doesn't have to be necessarily more nature-based or energy healing based or Ascended Master based, but if it's inspired you spiritually, in your heart, in your mind, in your everyday activities, I'd love to hear about them and see, maybe if that's something that I would want to journey down and also engage with and learn from. So thank you guys so much, and I hope you all have a great day, and thank you for listening to my current reads list. Bye.